Thank you for your booking. The reason for me showing you this video is that you have chosen to rent the boat. In order to get the boat, you have to undo the ropes like this. To release the rope from the metal rod on the rock. Then you pull the rope which is attached to the boat's bow and you pull the boat inwards. Once you can reach the boat by hand, take control of it. Before leaving, you will have to undo the shackle as well as the padlock in the bow. I'll get back to that later. Climb on board, undo the zipper on both sides and lift the hatch. Are you able to enter? To further undo the zipper. And get aboard. This entire canvas can fold down if the weather is nice. That's of course to prefer. In the rear you have the same zippers. At back you'll find the engine. A Mercury 4-stroke, 115 horsepower. A 4-stroke engine should never have oil added to its fuel. So if you need to refuel, you simply add fuel 98 octane here. It is critical that you add 98 octane only. If you were to put 95 in there, the boat would stop. The engine would stall mid-sea and you'll be stuck, which isn't very preferable. Here you'll find a small cabin with a few pillows for the rear bench, steering console, latch for main power switch, battery, and a few simple gallons of spare fuel should you run completely dry for some reason. On the tank there are 75 liters, equivalent to 20 gallons of fuel. The fuel gauge can be seen here. It is a very wobbly fuel gauge, so when the boat wobbles, the fuel gauge will also wobble up and down, so it's not easy to read. At this moment, I'm able to put the key in the ignition and turn, and you'll see the fuel gauge pop to max because I've just refueled the boat, so it's completely brimmed. It's of critical importance to remember this. This should be attached to your life jacket or the driver's pockets or whatever at any given time. If you were to fall off the boat, this will fall out and the engine will stop and you can swim back to the boat. If you don't remember this and fall off the boat will just keep going until the fuel is running out, which is quite a far way. To start the engine, you simply turn the key to start. Before you do, you should remember to put the engine into the water. The propeller will be positioned above water. To tilt it down, use the up and down switch on the throttle. Down will tilt the engine into the water. Once it reaches a regular level, so to say, you can start the engine by turning the key. When the boat is started and everything is running smoothly, you should undo the ropes and the lock. Simply undo this shackle, same in the front. When you're going back to land, redo the shackle. And as I explained in the start, up front there is a padlock and a shackle. Of course, I remember now that the key to the padlock is this one, the ABUS key. So of course you would have to undo the padlock before putting the key in the ignition. Forwards with the grey button in is of course front, backwards, back. Steering is a bit heavy, speed sensitive, takes a bit getting used to. The tilt of the engine is of critical importance when driving a motorboat. However, as I assume you do have a driving license for boats, you should know all about this. The tilt will change the angle of the bow. It will change the way the boat rides in the water, how choppy water so handled. So it's important to use the right tilt. When you are getting the boat up to speed, I recommend to put the tilt of the engine quite far down, so you force the boat to put its bow downwards into the sea, and then you can tilt it back up a little bit once you're on a proper speed. There is a radio in the boat with Bluetooth connection, so you can listen to your favorite tunes while in the sea. A few tables. Basically that concludes the grand tour of this yacht. There's a cup holder here, simple one, probably still works. Yeah, that should be it, basically. Hope you'll enjoy.